outside of a ghost hunt. Come on, guys, it's interactive. That's why you signed up. What are we looking for in here?
Heat. Yeah.
Not
heat
how
sources.
so? Not heat.
No, cold.
Cold. There we go. Look at that. Look at that group effort. I love it. So you guys should be able to see me in there. It should be white and yellow, right, because of my fever, right? So we're looking for blue and black. So we're looking for those spots to either to start moving on their own or to start taking shape. When I say start taking shape, it's usually in the form of a person. So again, does this capture something every single night? Not necessarily, but when we do, it is a holy cow moment. I'm just going to put it out there. So, and the cool thing about this guy is that it is a FLIR. This is actually what firemen would use to actually help save people. This is the real deal. So this is not a fake phone app or anything like that you guys can download. Like, this is a couple $100 camera. It's a phone attachment. I set it up to where there's a blue dot bouncing around the screen. The blue dot is there to show you exactly where the coldest spot is in the frame at that particular moment with the actual signature. So that way I'm looking for 15-degree temperature drops when that thing hits. So again, average temperature tonight for us is going to be about 53 degrees. So I'm going to be looking at what? Is that 38 and below? So roughly. So again, that's basically what I'm going to be looking for. Now, this guy is super cool. However, as great as the hardware is, the software sucks. So I'm going to be doing a few starts and stops along with this guy, and I'm going to splice them all together so you have one video to watch. Is that fair? So again, we're not going to have a full 2 hours of thermal imaging video because walking in between spaces, we really don't need to do that. So now that the instruction is on there, out and explore the space. Remember, those of you with cameras, parked cars everywhere, and we are not going to go near any of these parked cars. Most of them belong to employees down here, and they like to take naps, so we don't want to be filming them while they're taking naps on their break. Saturday nights, everybody.
Yes.
Scaring my ghosts away. So I will be honest, this location is part of the reason why I wanted to start a new route to get away from it. We were starting to get some very unwelcoming messages, and last night was the first night I was back here in about 2.5 weeks. So again, last night went okay, but it was very quick. So because we were getting some good things, and I called it before it started to get nasty for us. So just putting that out there. So where the heck are we? We're in a parking lot. Congratulations, you made it. This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansion. Their mansion sat in the front of this space facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. I always like to give you the layout of where we're at and why we're doing the location that we are. So keep in mind, for all of you communication device people, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did with the Big Red Barn. I'm going to withhold information. This is stop number 1. So, Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. You guys see why we look for secondary clues now? Yeah, we need to know which Chuck we're talking to. So, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than everybody here. I guarantee it. So we're going to move on. If I don't bring it up, it usually comes up as a nasty message like, you forgot about us kind of mentality. So, let's talk about Eliza. She's way cooler anyway. She's a much better story. Eliza married Charles at a young age, according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. If you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, you're not going to get numbers like 12 and 14. Just kind of keep that in the back of your brain. The reason I bring this up is because her husband was over double her age. Kind of a creepy age gap in the colonial times, definitely a creepy age gap now. I'm just going to put that out there too. Now, she married him because her father was over in England, where they're from, where she's from anyway, and he thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all of his children home one last time so he can see them. She didn't believe he was dying, so instead, she stayed put, she got married in 1744. You don't get married in 1744 for a green card. It's not even a country yet. So she didn't marry him out of love. There was no foul play. Don't ask about affairs with Coke the Bear. A very prominent English woman. Keep that in mind. Now, she was correct. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to this space where we're standing. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seed of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least a day. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. I can guarantee it. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes your blue jeans blue. A lot of you have it on tonight. That's how we use it now. She didn't know what to do with it when she got it. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's obviously not warm here all the time. You need warm temperatures for that to keep going. Once she was done experimenting with it here, she moved it to a cash crop, called her father, not really called him because it's the 1700s, and she says, rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. This is huge. Not many tours even talk about this one. So, that's the business, boring stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are all here, right? So, I'm going to go through kind of a series of questions with each spirit box just to give you a focal point. In the event you're not getting answers based on your focus questions, by all means cherry pick from whatever I gave somebody else. I'm okay with it. I just like to separate it so that way we're not all asking Eliza the same questions. These are common things that we get the answers to. So I'm just gonna go left to right if everybody's cool with that. Emily, yours, I'm gonna have you focus on the children. So I want you to ask how many children she had and what their names were, and that is all. The reason I'm asking her that's it is because there's a tragedy there. Don't poke the bear. Again, she will not talk and all activity will stop. Have you gotten any numbers on there?
Just 0.1.
0.1, yeah, it's garbage. So, like how I just throw that out there, it's nothing.
Yeah.
All right, so kids and the names, got it? All right. I might keep forgetting your name. Lizzie.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so which spirit box do you have? All right, so you're gonna go after Eliza's death. How old she was? What she died from? Where she's buried? What president was the pallbearer at her funeral? Kind of got all those? All right, perfect. You're going to be hopefully getting Eliza's initials. We've actually seen Eliza's name show up with an extra letter, and it was scrambled. So it looked like EULZIA. So it looked like Yulzia, and we had all of the letters with an added U mixed into it.
This is recorded stuff.
So, but I'm going to make it simple.
Messages as well.
Let's go after EP, ELP. So either one of those will work. You're going to have to stay behind so I can work with you more. Your spirit box, I want you going after, and these questions are actually going to go work because your guys' spirit box is working identically. The mansion's not here anymore. What happened to it? When did that happen? So again, we're looking for a very specific date. Notice none of the questions I gave you are yes/no answers. So again, if you're going to go rogue and ask your own questions, be respectful. No yes/no questions. Let's keep those out of the mix. Right? With yours, this one's going to be fun. So there's a little bit extra about Eliza that I didn't tell you. So Eliza that we just spoke about is the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. So we have two wives named Eliza the same year. The first wife died in January. He marries the one we just talked about in May of the same year, 5 months later. Both Elizas have a maiden name that started with the letter L. Which Eliza are we with? So you're not getting an answer, of the maiden name. Maybe cherry pick off of, maybe we're getting answers from what happens in the mansion, the kids' names, anything like that. Again, right?
So I don't need to say anything.
Right. So again, when I'm saying ask these questions, you can focus on them, you can say them out loud, whatever you're comfortable with. Some people are weird, we're trying to talk to people that they can't see. So again, it's just one of those things. So I am going to, Jason, right? No.
You got 2 more tries.
I'm Jason.
Sean, you're Jason.
Yes.
And I know you're Connor. Got that one down. All right. Sean. I'm putting it in my brain. Okay, I got it. So I'm going to keep Sean behind. So everybody else, we're going to spread out. Keep in mind, people are going to be passing through here. We're not going to film them. Don't go in between the vehicles. And I'm going to literally be following up with every one of you. This is probably going to take anywhere between 5 to 8 minutes. And we want to keep this location short out of just respect of the location. So again, start exploring, get the spirit boxes cranked up, and let's have some fun with this. All right, Sean. So
Did you start 2.5?
2.5 is usually like my case. This location does give us an average spike of 18. Yes, and that's average. So your easiest thing to explain is your cell phone. So when your cell phone is turned on and it's nearby, it sends out a pulse, right? To the tower. That pulse is an electromagnetic. So if I were to put my phone next to this, it's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. So, and that's kind of what it's measuring, is any kind of electrical pulses in the air. So a natural EMF comes off the earth. So that goes up to 1.1. I don't write anything down. That's why I like to go straight to 2.5, because that's the second dot on the earth. So when it's giving us this kind of electrical pulses and there's no electrical wiring in here whatsoever, that's where I get excited. Because there's no electrical lines here. So we're going to talk more about it. So I will tell you that the highest I've ever seen that device go is 50. It's 214. We left. Don't play with electrical lines in here about that. So if you get close to triple digits, I kind of need to get away some 4.6 or something. So that's perfect. Now at this point, I don't want you to tell me anything more than 12.6. I don't want a whole book full of just numbers going up and down and down. Well, I'm going to show you how to use the motion sensor. We're going to use that in here. We're not going to use it in every space, but we're definitely going to use it here. So, now that you've seen that move, pull up the antenna on the left. it starts, when you're walking around and it goes up to blue, there's 3 buttons right here. You want to stop that thing. That's the technical motion. Blue means that's how close they got to it. So it was solid blue. It was. I'm going to write it down. But I also need to prove you like how to make sure it's not coming from you. Those 3 buttons on the side right there, there's a reset button, the very bottom button. So kind of get a feel for them. They're all black. You're not going to be able to see the difference. So just feel for 3 buttons and look for the bottom one. So every time it goes off, I want you to click that button again. That way, if it goes back to being quiet, obviously know, and it goes back to the same color, we know that it didn't come from you. So it's true. That's motion near you. Something fluctuated, and there's a key EMF field around it. There's an EMF field around it. Well, we as a humans can make it go to red because I interrupted the field. There's an invisible field around it. Something gets into that field, it's going to break it. The closer it gets, the higher the number is going to go. See how that works? So the closer it gets, I have to constantly sit really close because we're outside. I don't want every bug flying behind me as I walk. So, again, the blue I'm definitely going to write down. But at this time, it did go away. So, again, kind of get used to it. You don't need to mess with anything on the front. Just let me know what colors and numbers you see, and they don't work together. I will also tell you, you can ask Eliza to show you a specific color. Eliza, show me first.
Yes.
So you know that when I told you that some guy said berry and like death or something? I think I heard him again, and he said in trouble.
In trouble? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I heard same. I think it was the same guy who said that stuff, like berry, and I couldn't hear Eliza. I don't know where she's at.
Okay. Okay.
She's probably busy.
Hit the reset button.
Wait.
And it didn't go back to blue, so definitely it's coming from you. Perfect. All right. You got any other letters on there? Okay, I want to make sure I turn up the sensitivity for you. The sensitivity behind it. I turn it all the way up. It starts giving you a A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like every letter. You're going to crank it back about a quarter turn. Okay. So give it some time. Walk around with it. Kind of see where we're going.
So, you know how I said some guy that says berry and
Yeah.
stuff like death? I think oh, that means
E-I. So those are 2 letters in her name so far.
E-I-E-I-O.
I know, right?
I believe it was the same guy. I didn't hear Eliza, but he did say in trouble.
In trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I don't really care about what the voice sounds like.
Yeah.
It's a I don't care if it's male, female, if it was a DJ, a song lyric. I don't care about any of those things. It's a matter of what words did you hear.
Yeah,
Whether it was
in trouble.
Yeah, if it said in trouble, again, I'm going to be watching what everybody else hears.
Stay with us, Emily. Don't go wandering off. Stay with us.
Wait, 4-1. I heard 4-1.
Okay.
Yeah, I went up to 20.2.
Did he mention anything about numbers and such? He was a specific place?
Huh?
Did he mention like any numbers?
Mm-hmm.
No. I just heard 4-1.
Okay.
Come down today. Yeah. I'm asking for a number or hear a number or year. I got the number 8.
ready to chat about football.
Okay.
Take this big knob up here and turn it backwards so it clicks, and then back to 9 o'clock. So again, it kind of clears the slate, and that way it's not overwriting a formal jumble that we're like looking at this. It doesn't make any sense. So just every full line you get, just reset it. You can't make anything out. And there's going to be certain areas where I'm going to say, I want you looking for these initials. I want you looking for this, because this device is still on too. We're still tooling. So you're kind of my experiment. You're my guinea pig. What do you got there?
I just heard the University of South Carolina.
Seems to be doing good. Doing football, getting deaf, very in trouble.
Okay.
Doing great on the first
So
go.
there's nobody around you, so
I'm sorry, what?
there's nobody around you.
Huh?
I said there's nobody around you.
Yes, please let me know if there is.
Yes, I will. Believe me.
And I just want to see if you get the initials RI in the same order. I want it to be RI, not IR. So just look for RI and you'll see if those actually pop up. I'm just very curious. Is that something we've gotten in the past at the location? We have a very specific name that you write. Yeah, so I just want to kind of see if it's bleeding over. If you remember, I'm out here some nights. Please go see. My name's okay. I want to get some numbers. Maybe pull everybody back. Getting
What?
Nothing.
So I keep hearing numbers, like I heard 154.
Okay.
I don't know.
Wait, where's the?
I heard 54, 4-1, and
Uh-huh.
5-4. 4-1, 5-4.
I'm going to give you guys all the
Okay.
answers. I'm not going to leave you all hanging. All right, I'm going to yank everybody back because it looks like we have enough to where it's going to start making sense. Okay. Yeah.
Hands pulled.
1, 4, and then 4 by itself. 5. So I'm calling this one because we actually have some decent things going on without a whole lot of negativity. So that's why I'm kind of cutting this one a little short. We actually have some good starter pieces. So, wait, we're gonna catch up. She's in the zone. She's definitely in the zone.
A lot of letters here.
What do you got?
A lot of Z's and V, H. I just got RQ. I'm gonna erase that.
Yeah, if you got nothing out of it, I'm good with that. So first off, we did get a 20.2 milligauss reading from Sean's device. So basically what that means, let me explain what those numbers are in relative terms. If you were to put Sean's device, by the way, those of you with cameras, if you want to stop them and give your hands a break, you can do that. So Jason, we were chatting, so you probably weren't listening.
No.
Did you get anything?
I was intermittent listening.
Okay, fair enough. So again, if tours start to come through here, this is a very staple, it's a big staple for ghost tours. We're just going to split the seas and let them pass through. I always stop at this gate because I don't think any other tour knows why this gate is even here, which I'm going to explain at the end. So, we're in Philadelphia Alley. I need to catch my breath. You had me talking really fast. So he's asking me about other places I've been to, and I'm like, wait a minute, I got a lot to spit off here, man.
See anything?
This used to be where some of the duels took place for the city of Charleston. Because remember that dueling was pretty much illegal in the 1700s. So again, they always had to find spots. So if you get another tour guide that said, this is where all of the duels took place, they're lying to you. Again, they had to find their spot of where basically they wouldn't get caught. We all tell the same story down here because we can prove that the duel actually happened, and we actually get quite a bit of evidence from this location. So, let's go through the story. doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. I want specifically you to be looking for the initials RI, just like I did back at the other location. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So Dr. Ladd, by the way, did I give you his full name? Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. His full name has shown up here in the past for us. So yeah, very cool stuff. So if you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it's not coincidence. That's part of the name. So kind of keep that as we're going through this. That's something we actually caught here quite a few times. But anyway, to prove that he's not after Amanda's money, he comes to Charleston. And the coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody was walking by, somebody who lived here a long time, and his name was Ralph Isaacs. He has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island. So again, the letters RI have been showing up at this location even before I had the Ouija board device. They were coming up on other spirit boxes. It was the strangest thing, especially the word list that Stephanie's using. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind, but we need the secondary clues so we know who it belongs to. Anyway, Ralph Isaacs tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you and take all your money, but you can go rent a room from some friends of mine at 59 Church Street. What do you have?
I just got the name George. Isn't that
Yeah. When did you get it? Just here?
just now?
Just now. Okay.
And now pencil. Wasn't somebody an artist or
A writer?
a writer?
Writer, that's actually, that wouldn't be coming up over here.
Okay.
For George.
But George is very interesting because, again, we're pretty far away from the Pinckney Mansion site, but his father's buried on the other side of this wall.
Oh.
So I will tell you that.
Okay.
So again, somewhat relevant. I need a little bit more to be proof. Again, normally a name, I'm like, ooh, yeah, but yeah, we're kind of in a weird in-between spot. We're in between the veil, everybody. We got to fix that. So where was I? Dr. Ladd, right?
Yes.
And,
Get rid of him.
And she like went to stay
oh
somewhere.
yeah, you can stay with some friends of mine at 59 Church Street. Keep that number in the back of your head because it does show up here a lot. Dr. Ladd takes him up on the offer, and the two become friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's money. So Amanda gets wind of this, and she's moving down so they can get married. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Now, our claims that you can hear whistles as you walk through this alley, but we're going to talk more about that later. And every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has a whistling ghost. I'm going to put my paycheck on it right now. So again, it's very cliche, but there is actual proof of this one, and I have some. But anyway, back to Ralph and the doctor. They go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. And one night they go see Richard III, and they're arguing over the new actress. Dr. Ladd thought the new actress was fantastic. Ralph, not so much. The argument gets very heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. They go their separate ways. Told you Ralph has friends around town. He goes to the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality.
Wow.
Dr. Ladd sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Duller's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they came down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just needed the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel, by the way. Ralph, however, has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd drops to the ground. His friends pick him up, carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies either 10 or 4 days later, depending on which version of the story you're reading. Now, the interesting thing is that he refused medical treatment. This guy's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed this out himself. So,
Isn't supposed to stop the bleeding, not let it bleed out?
yeah, but with a bullet wound, you have to remember, it's back, this is 1786, so it wasn't bullets like what we have now. So when you get lead in you, it's lead poisoning. You have to bleed to get the poison of the lead out. So that it's bleeding it out is basically what they would do for you. So at the campfire marshmallow part of this is that as you walk through the alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. Do you guys hear how quiet it is? It's Saturday night. It's like this on a Saturday afternoon too. So, unless the air conditioners pick up on one of these two buildings right here. So, I urge you to, and keep in mind, I'm also going to tell you, I've been kicked out of this alley. So, I'm going to explain that in a second. And when you're walking through the alley, turn on your voice recorders from your phone. Now, keep in mind, I have a voice recorder running for you right now, but every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Queen Street or Cumberland is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every night. So when we're done, I have to pass this alley to get back to my garage. We passed it. It's right behind that little convenience store. So I have to pass the alley no matter where I end. I do it every single night. So keep in mind, it's not going to be obvious. It's going to sound very faint and in the background. I told you guys that I've been kicked out of here. Let's get to that because that actually makes sense of why we're going to where we're going next. This alley didn't always come all the way through on this side because this is where they held the livestock for the city of Charleston. So your cows, your chickens, your pigs, all of that was in here. So it was blocked off on one end. That means those bricks down there on the other side are older than the bricks we're standing on now. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint and fingerprint swipes at the end of the alley. And I'd always point it out because it's part of our history. I don't care about the diversity of my group. We all need to see it to show how far we've come from slavery. I'm sure you guys all picked up about history, like, right? Yeah. So, we're not allowed to go down that far, and I wasn't aware of it. And I took my whole group down there, and I was trying to shoo them along. Everybody wants to try to get a reading out of that brick. I already told you I don't like hanging out in cemeteries because I don't get much activity. And guess what? That kid's not hanging around that brick in the afterlife. So I'm trying to shoo the team along. I had a full team. It's November 26th of 2020, by the way. I know the exact date for a reason. I'm shooing them along because it's outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. It's neighborhood. We're not allowed there. So he comes running out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at. She was on the tour that night. And the next day was Thanksgiving. I didn't have a tour. I worked in retail management for over 20 years. I'm never working Thanksgiving again. Ever. Walmart for many of those years, by the way. Put that in the back of your brain. So the next day was November 28th of 2020. I get a phone call asking me to go down halfway or reroute my tour altogether. I decided it wasn't fair for my groups of 10 to try to work around 20 to 60 other people in here instead of just passing through quietly. So I told the story and I told my team, I'm going to reroute the tour, but I'm not a big pirate person. I don't even believe the story I'm about to tell you, but I'm going to go through it because it is a Charleston staple. We're going to see what happens. Before we left, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I did not tell them that we were going to be investigating the famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I'm like, all right, maybe we are going to get something. We get down there, I told what little bit I did know about piracy, and somebody else hears the number 300 on another spirit box. I don't know what it means in real time. I'm doing the research for them the next day. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720.
Dude.
So,
That's wild.
I keep taking you guys there night after night, and it is going to remain in my tour because I've read more damn books on piracy than I ever wanted to in my life. And you should be thankful I have a master's degree in creative writing because trying to put together a factual investigation on pirate lore is very difficult. Everything we're going to discuss at the next location came from a minimum of 2 resources. So every line I'm about to spout off to you later on at the next stop is, again, it's as much factual data that I can possibly muster. Now we're going to spread out in that location once we get up there and go through the history, kind of like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site. But the gate behind me before we leave the space. Remember that the alley didn't always go all the way through. I told you there's a cemetery right there. In the event there was a loser to the duel, this was a shortcut to get to the cemetery. Otherwise, they'd have to go all the way down to Queen Street. You see how long it is. And then back down around to go drop off the dead body before they go celebrate the winner with a pint. So I call this the death gate. The wrought iron was not here. This wrought iron is probably early 1900s, if I'm guessing. But obviously the opening is still legit. So as we kind of go through up to the next location, again, very popular corner up there. I know it looks like I'm a liar down here because we got the whole damn alley to ourselves. But I'm going to choose our spot for us, and we're just going to stay out of the way of the other tourists. Remember, there's telling stories and moving on. You guys are going to be spreading out and investigating. So, any other major questions about dueling that I might be able to answer? We do capture a lot of orbs down here, so it's a good thing you're recording. All right, anything weird that you guys may have heard while we've been standing here, or were you totally focused on me? Which is perfectly fine, because most of your stuff is recording anyway.
I was just focused on you.
Yeah, I can tell.
Everybody's extremely more told the story about it.
Gotcha. And is yours still recording? Yes, you're good to go. All right. So as far as any other,
Something Brown.
yeah, Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd.
But there's that song from Charlie Brown.
Yeah, I heard the
Okay.
theme song for Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
But did you hear Charlie Brown?
No.
Okay.
Just a song. Yeah.
Nice try. I like where the thinking's going, but that's too big of a stretch for me.
Okay.
So, because that would have been Vincent Guaraldi who wrote that. And again, it's not anything that would have come up as far as somebody from 1786 knowing who the hell Charlie Brown is.
Yeah.
So, let's go learn about some pirates, shall we? Yeah. All right, we're going to head up this way. We're going to go. that's my circle of friends. That's why I keep in touch with them. All right, did you lose somebody to the restroom?
Oh, I'm back.
Ooh, that was quick, bro.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
it's locked.
Yeah, it's locked.
All right, let's circle up a little bit over here, just because I like to stand in the way of the other tours. I like to cut through here. So we are going to be discussing pirates. Yeah, it's just weird. I'm not seeing many tours out tonight, so apparently you guys were the big party of the night. I must be the only guy working. Finally. By the way, in case any of you are wondering, because some of you looked at me kind of funny when I said master's degree in creative writing, like I have a lot of degrees. Like this is my normal job. Like this is what I do for a living. So I get asked all the time, like, what's your, where do you work during your daytime? I'm like, I own this business. Like, I can't answer your text while I'm working at Walmart. You know what I mean? I can't be doing that. But yeah, I do have a bachelor's in English, a bachelor's in journalism, a master's in creative writing, and I just started my master's in history. So I'm a very busy guy. And yes, I'm published. You guys are going to see all of that stuff on my website tomorrow. So now that I got the self-promotion questions out of the way, and I don't like to normally bring that, but you guys were already starting to poke those questions. So I was like, let me just get them all out. So where the heck are we? We're at the Gunpowder Magazine. That's the little tiny building over there. Now, this is what I call a familiar ghost. So the reason why I bring this over here, you guys see the crosses, by the way?
Yeah.
Those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. So if you're not familiar with earthquake bolts, I told you about the big earthquake we had in 1886, right? So earthquake bolts are turnbuckles. They go all the way through the roof or the floor, and even the apartment building behind them has it, but they're newer. So if we have another earthquake, which we haven't, you can turn those turnbuckles and it'll tighten the building back up so it doesn't incur any further damage. Now, it's a great idea, right? It just doesn't work. Talk to any Californian, they will laugh their ass off at you if you start telling them about earthquake bolts, because they know it doesn't work. Now, the reason why I bring those ones up specifically is because that's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in, because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713, which is exactly why we're here. It's a familiar building to when Anne Bonny was in this area. Again, it's like using a toy to attract a child first. It's the same mentality. Now keep in mind, this is a hit or miss location. We're going to know, after I'm done telling you the history, based on what's going on with your devices, within 5 minutes if we have Anne Bonny or not. Again, this is just, it's a great story, so we're going to buckle up and let's see what happens. 1708, follow me, there's a lot of twists in this story. Young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you with me so far?
Fortunately.
I know, right? The three of them are running away from Anne's father's angry wife. Yeah, you guys got that one now? See why I slowed down? Yeah, there's a lot of twists. So, they move here from Ireland to the Georgetown area. That's between us and Myrtle Beach, if you're unfamiliar. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to sell anything from the plantation to help keep things afloat. Now, Anne back home in Ireland, kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants when she was 7, 8, 9 years old. Remember, this is pirate lore, with a knife to the belly. So again, knife and belly have shown up here in the past, just so you guys know. But I like to put that mentality of her as we kind of go through her history. Let's fast forward. The building's done in 1713. It's familiar to her. And pirates are coming through town in 1715, a few years later. Anne is about 16, 17 years old at this point. So she's going to fall in love, because she wants to earn her freedom, just like a man, because it's a man's world at this point. Guy number one. Yes, I said number one. There's a handful. We're going to go through them. Guy number one is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going, right? Dad didn't approve. Filthy pirate. They go to Jamaica, get married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. However, James Bonny is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy for the British. He's a coward. That's not who she was. So a few years later, she falls in love again. John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is literally the person they based your Captain Jack Sparrow character off of. So this is the guy she's looking for, right? So he has his own ship. She wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why?
Bad luck.
Right. Good job, man. Bad luck. So thank you for keeping it family friendly. Got a lot of answers out of that one. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and hide your gender, you can be part of the crew. But you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. She's good with it. She knows it's a man's world. Let's do this. Let's put two and two together. She's being a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a female and that Jack let her on the ship. So he drops her from Cuba before she starts to show her pregnancy. Have the baby over here. These are friends of mine that help you out. Come back later. We'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. No amount of research that I've done can find any specific answers. A significant part of the story, though, is that she comes back dressed as a female. Jack realizes that she came back dressed as a female, and it pisses him off pretty badly. While she was away giving birth to his child, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. To make Jack even more mad, she's going to go flirting with that pirate crew because that's who Anne Bonny is. We're on guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. So now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship. This young lady's name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. I'm not going to really know for sure. However, the British find out where they are. They send an entire fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. Rumor has it that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates that came up and fight because the other ones were too drunk to come up and blow up the cannons. Now, Anne and Mary only have one. They have flintlocks. That's 1 bullet at a time, guys. So they're not going to take on a whole fleet of ships, right? So they get arrested, the whole pirate ship. And as they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The dog thing shows up here a lot, just so you know. Now, the judge, his name is Nicholas as well. So if you hear my name, there's actually 3 Nicholases relevant in this area, so we need to tie clues together. But he wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight, so they're dead and gone 2 days prior. Anne and Mary go in front, they reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves, and he doesn't care that they're female. They're still pirates, they're still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies" was the last thing they shouted, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he says, fine. Send the fellows back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina. He bails out Anne with his Irish money, because he's an attorney back home. She comes home, she remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary Reed, because we don't really know. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 88. Yes, very abrupt. Why? Because we don't know much about her after her pirate career. There's a lot of rumors that go around, and we don't even know where she really lived or where she's buried. There's a lot of memorials around, but Mary Reed, what happened to her? A year later, she died in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in the Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books will say it was fever. I'm going to call bullshit and say it was probably very scurvious and nasty and gross. So use your own imagination. Make it romantic for yourselves, everybody. 2 things I left out of here. I'm not going to give you a whole plethora of questions because you guys pretty much all know what you're doing by now, right? So 2 things I left out on purpose. The names of Anne Bonny's parents. That's her father and his mistress. I did not tell you what those names were. Use those on your spirit box. I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship that Anne was part of. So that's a very weird one. So Sean, with your device, you will be using the motion device in this location, so you're going to turn on that little white button. The closer you get to the bushes up there, you're going to start getting numbers. Ignore them. They're coming from the parking meters and the electrical poles in the corners. You're going to be asking Anne Bonny what her hair color is, and hopefully she's going to show you. It is red. I'm just going to point that out. And the only way for her to show you is for her to touch that antenna. It's the only time I've ever gotten a direct red out of that device has been in this location. Wow. So, again, we're going to know within 5 minutes of what you guys are telling me, of if we have Anne Bonny. If not, we're going to head over to Washington Park and look at that author/poet. So, let's get those spirit boxes cranked up. You got anything going on with yours? You have a B after it? Okay, turn up the sensitivity all the way. Again, I want to go after, this is a place where you can ask any questions you want to.
B. I got a B.
You got A, B.
A, B. Right there. Very quick. S.
That is. No.
You got an AB?
You did get an A, B.
Yeah.
Wow.
This pirate girl got an A, B from Anne.
Well, let's see if we can
She
get,
knows you're Meredith.
see if we can get Mary Reed's name out of it. That would be MR. So what do you think, man? That camera's pretty badass, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Love that thing. I don't always follow up with you guys in real time because, again, it's because I'm going to put it on YouTube. That way you guys can watch them however.
Okay.
I watch it on a large computer screen. It's not always an in-the-field catch.
Right.
So, and even with the other one, Courtney has, like, that one's not always...
Does there need to be a temperature differential, though? I mean,
Not
is it
necessarily.
easier to find?
Most of the
find
things
it
that
in
I
the-
found aren't with the blue dot.
Okay.
I have found figures walking toward us that weren't there in real time.
Oh, okay.
Nor,
But I mean, it's. I would assume it's easier to find them using this when it's warmer temperature outside.
necessarily. All I need to know is really what the base temperature is, like the baseline of it. Obviously, what does the Weather Channel say? What does that show in the center crosshairs? Like, what do I normally see?
Right.
So, and then I just kind of take things for what they are. Now, January, February, it does get a little difficult, and that's why we definitely have to keep a person in view at all times.
Right.
Just because we do get some cold weather.
Yes.
So, January, February.
Do you find there more activity with different atmospheric conditions?
That's what I'm testing now. I just started testing all of that for the past, I'd say, 2 months. I've only had 1 month so far where the full moon investigation was the highest one of the month, and that was October. But lately, it's all about the people I'm finding. Like, if I have a good group, we have a good night. And I don't put that into perspective when I'm going through it. I look at it afterwards when I'm rating it, because I count everything up and everything's on a point system, and I look at the numbers and say, did we have a negative Nancy? I look at it afterwards, like, why is this number so low? You know what I mean? Or why is it really high? Oh, well, Emily was super into it, so we had a lot of positive energy coming out of her.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. So I mean, this is a really solid group.
That might attract.
Right. So again, when I get that heckler, there's a reason why my prices are the way they are.
Yeah.
I had to get them out. Like, they were killing my tours. So it was getting bad.
Okay.
So I usually had one every single night.
Right.
Like, just one husband that was dragged here, didn't want to be here. You know, it was kind of like, you got to go.
Yeah.
He's getting all kinds of readings out of it. Looks like it's coming from his motion, though. Is that coming from you?
I keep resetting it. It keeps going.
And we want to see your hair color. It's not like you don't know the damn questions we're asking. I'm here every night. I'm writing it down.
Asked who the friend was.
I'm writing it down. That's a good one. That's all the word for it.
Yeah, I do that.
Yes.
You getting anything?
Not yet. But like you said, a lot of times you might, on a small screen, you might not be able to see something. When he blows it up on a big screen,
Oh, that's a good point.
you might be able to see more.
I think I just heard someone say Anne Boleyn.
Are you sure?
Someone said Anne Boleyn. You know who she is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anne Boleyn. That's weird.
You'll tell him.
Oh, I got an R. Wait, I got an R. What's her hair color?
A visitor.
Red. Right?
Yeah, it's red.
Okay, I'll stick.
I saw a cat.
Yeah, I think, I wasn't on another tour, but I just, I checked the pirates. Is it normal? Justice. The word justice.
Yeah.
I heard someone mention boat.
Hmm?
I heard someone mention boat.
Yeah.
Boat?
Oh,
I'm resetting
I heard someone mention boat. Boat? Yeah.
I actually had C and dog show up at the same time too. But it was really cool. Somebody heard, because at first I thought the dog quote from Anne Bonny, but then somebody said, I heard C. I'm like, sea dogs. Like, no way. Like, I was more excited about sea dogs than just the word dog.
Where in New England? You said you're from New England?
From Ohio.
You're? What part?
Youngstown.
My fiance said he's from
Oh.
I was there last week.
Louisville, Kentucky
Oh,
here.
wait, it's spelled my initials. M-E-R. My friends call me that. Does that mean anything?
M-E-R?
Yeah, Meredith. They call me Mare.
Well, I don't know if Mary Reed had a middle.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Ooh.
All right, let's head over to the wall.
Okay.
Let's see what we got going on.
MER.
That thing's going in there.
Mayor.
Yeah, but he said Mary Reed.
As in mayor.
Whoa. Alright. So, I'm excited about his motion sensor just going absolutely berserk. So, again, that thing has been going nuts since he turned it on. So, it doesn't normally do that in this location. So, I definitely want to be focused on the recording of the spirit box. So, to kind of see what else is going on with it. We did get the word justice, and remember that the judge that tried Anne Bonny and Mary Reed was a Chief Justice. So, again, I'm going to be looking for the name Nicholas, or his last name was Laws. Very ironically, he was a Chief Justice, and his last name is Laws. So I'll be looking for either one of those. We did get Anne Bonny's initials on the Ouija board, like right away, so we got an A, B, and they were separated, so it went through the alphabet at least once to get back to the second B. So that was kind of exciting, and then the word shit came up. That's really cool.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think I heard someone say like Anne Boleyn or something.
Oh, well, that's like, that would be Queen Anne. She's still got the name Anne.
Does Abby mean anything?
No.
Okay.
Going to the name John, that was her. Who heard the name John? So I will tell you that your 7th Vice President, John Calhoun, is buried on the other side of that wall. During the month of March, we will get a lot of things, and I talk about him more in March because he was born in March and he died in March. And there's 2 different sides to that cemetery. The reason why he's on that specific side is because he's not a native to Charleston, which means he wasn't born there. They actually shuffled his sarcophagus back and forth trying to figure out where he was supposed to go. Turns out he's not from here. So he's actually on that side of the cemetery. Anybody get any numbers here specifically?
1 and 2.
Yeah, I
That's
also
right,
got 102.
Yeah, so I kind of look at things like that with dates. So I'm going to see if there's a January 2nd or, 10-2, maybe October 2nd. I have to think outside the box. The reason I'm asking for numbers here is because we often hear the number 7 between Philadelphia Alley to here. A couple of reasons why. If we get doubles of it, say 7-7, that's Dr. Ladd's birthday, July 7th. Happens all the time.
Wow.
The other piece is John Calhoun, 7th Vice President. So we get it over here for that. The Powder Magazine serves 7 different years. So again, we get the number 7 here quite often. Again, none of you told me the number 7 tonight. We do have October 2nd.
That song 7 summers ago. We're gonna long.
7 summers ago?
Yeah.
We have our number 7.
I didn't think that was me.
See? That's why you gotta tell me every little
Sorry.
thing. And she heard the name Anne Boleyn. We don't need the Boleyn. We have Anne. Not to mention, Anne Boleyn is the same initials as Anne Bonny.
Right.
No, that was a queen. 7 summers. So, if you hear the song Drop It Like It's Hot, it might mean that there was a fire at it. Again, it happens. So, if you get, that's how we actually learned about the Great Fire that took out the Pinky Mansion. Somebody heard Drop It Like It's Hot, we had 12, 11, and 61. It was all together.
Wow.
So again, that's how we learn about this stuff. That George Washington bit that came up twice in the same week. And I'm like, I didn't even know that he was a pallbearer in Eliza's family. It's just shit that I learned from the tours. This isn't stuff that Charleston says I have to teach you. This is what I get from the tours. So let's go through the quick answers of the Anne Bonny questions, and then we will go learn about Henry Timber. I'm going to surprise it. We only have 1-7, so it could be relative. We did get the name John, so we do have a tie. But I'm going to see if there's something else there. We had 20, 102. There's something weird there with that 10-2. That's ringing a bell for some reason.
I got 1 and 2.
I am
But I'm looking at it as October 12th or October 2nd, and I want to say because Charles Pinckney, the husband, and the nephew are both buried across the street, and I want to say that the nephew was either born or died on October 2nd.
What about January 2nd?
January usually doesn't ring a bell for me.
Okay.
Because I do keep track of all of these dates at the top of your data page. So again, I have to run through a lot of things when I'm putting these data pages together. But yeah, January doesn't really ring a bell. Anne Bonny. Let's get to these quick answers. Where's my picture? By the way, this is one of the few pictures you can find of her with a shirt on. The reason why is because she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. I told you, this chick was badass. And again, RI now, and we're still close to Philadelphia Alley. Lead over. This is what I'm talking about. These are all the little things that I have to look at. We don't have anything relative to Philadelphia besides the RI, but again, I don't know what she's missing on her spirit box recording that I'm going to be able to find in the morning. So, the names of her parents, William Cormack, Mary Brennan. You can probably turn that off now.
Okay.
You guys were not expecting a secondary Mary, because remember we have Mary Reed from the ship. Mom was Mary Brennan. So, again, we also got M-E-R that showed up on the envoy, and I'm not sure if that's... Mayor? Yeah, who's holding it. But I don't know if Mary Reed had a middle initial. So I'll have to dive into that. I also like to show you what Calico Jack looked like. The reason why is because this is what they based Johnny Depp's character on. Calico Jack, of course, the picture, the color goes out. So I tap that button. He's called that because of the jackets that he wore. They came from the British captains that he killed. Now, Calico Jack's father was a tailor, so textiles were very important to them. Now, Calico Jack, fancy jacket. It's basically where the name comes from. The name of his ship was called the Kingston. Don't expect Kingston to actually pop through on the Red Spirit boxes of yours, Connor, but I would expect it out of yours. Yours likes to pick up more disembodied voices. The second night we used your device, I'm packing things up here, because remember this used to be my grand finale, and he hands it back to me, and it says, Pirate, plain as day. We all heard it, but it doesn't record. Luckily, they were standing next to the person with the thermal imaging camera, and we have the audio from that. And it was a dead night. Like, we didn't have much going on. So it's kind of like a, hooray! Finally something happened! But yeah, again, your device, and it definitely was not radio chat. It was just a simple statement of pirate. I'm like, oh shit. Now what's going to happen at the end?
Wow.
So,
I would like to mention something. I don't know for sure if I heard it correctly. I think I heard someone say, I killed her.
I killed her? I'll take it. You know what's funny is one of the songs we normally hear here, we talked about Brown Eyed Girl over there. Girls just want to have fun. We hear that one here all the time.
Really?
One of my most fun things that I'd ever heard at this location, which was really what convinced me, is I had two DJs talking, two female DJs. They were laughing their asses off, and they go, "They think we're guys." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
What?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. Here's another reason why I give that heated warning at the beginning. I'm sorry, I missed. What was the phrase you had?
I killed her.
I killed her. Thank you. So I would normally tell this before we spread out. Now, one of the reasons why I give that heated warning at the top of the tour, besides the 214 milligauss that I had over at the Pinky Mansion, one night I brought my team here. It was about a year ago, September. Go to the back, stay out of everybody's way, and before I can even get started, the kid next to me, he goes white as a ghost, and he starts to drop. Like, I had to pick him up by his armpit to be able to keep him from hitting his head on the ground. His boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him. We brought him over to this wall, got him up out of the water, he was feeling better, and I then told the story that I told you guys. They didn't know anything. I spread everybody out to go have fun at the last stop. You know, that's what this was. So they go have fun, but they, the two guys, they pull me aside. They tell me, we are two transgender males. Meaning I had two females dressed as males on my tour, just like Anne and Mary from the story.
Yeah.
And it made complete sense to us as to why one of them passed out. I mean, it was the minute we entered the space. This kid was going to the ground. So take that for what it's worth. This is the weird shit I see that I can't explain. I can't explain it. It's just one of those pieces.
Wow.
All right, cameras, go ahead and give your hands a break. We're going to be walking about 2.5 blocks. It's about any letters, words.
2 words, beautiful and king. They were separate, not like one after.
Where did you get king at? Were we still closer to Powder Magazine, or closer to here?
Closer to here.
Okay. The main reason I ask is because king would be a word that I would take for Kingston coming through one of the spirit boxes, because again, Kingston is going to be very difficult for a radio chatter piece to get us. So the word king would actually suffice.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, king, what was the other term?
Beautiful.
HT. So we are here because of the bus behind me. This is the one where I told you he sought me out. This is a location with many monuments, and I had no idea what we were going to find the first night here. It was a very cold night, and I only had 2 people, and I said, this is my experimental, we're going to see what happens. We got this gentleman's name that showed up. This is Henry Timrod. We had the name Henry show up, and the name Tim. So Timrod being his last name as one word. But we did get Henry and Tim, and the year he was born, specifically 1829, in the same evening. So I was very stoked when I put all of those pieces together and went, holy snap, that's a great story because I actually knew what it was. So this story is normally told at the Charleston Library Society because that's where this author's collection sits. It is actually up on King Street, and it's about a block from here, Cattywater. So it's weird that we're getting relative things to him here, but I'm going to continue with it anyway. So here's what I know about the man. He's a Charleston native. He was a poet, and he was very sick. He joined the Confederate Army during the Civil War, and his comrades sent him home because he was too sick, and they didn't want to deal with it. They knew he was a writer, and they said, go be the voice of the war. That's exactly what he did. So he went home, and he started writing like crazy, even though he was sick. And they eventually started calling him the laureate of the war. So, again, it was a very big deal. But again, he was very sick. Tragedy happens before his death. His son, Willie, only lived for 9 months. So, we've gotten the name Willie and the number 9 in the same night. Just so you know, that has shown up in the past. But the weird thing about Mr. Timrod's death is he was actually in Columbia at a friend of his house so he could have some seclusion after, obviously, the big tragedy of his son's death. He was 38 years old, and he writes his last words at the desk. It says, beholder of brief mortality, meaning person with short life. And then he coughs on the page. The cough lands on there in a phlegm of blood. And it basically lands in the form of a person writing. They show this book one time a year at the Charleston Library Society. It is called The Blood Book. And the day that they show it, who wants to guess? Come on, guys, it's The Blood Book. Halloween. I know, it's very obvious. You know, oh, yeah. So, what I like to do is at least show you what that blood splatter page looked like. And then I actually like to read the last stanza of his poem called Charleston because it kind of makes sense of what we're actually doing. And not to mention, it hopefully will stir some things up for us to be able to capture more. This is the last page that we did. Whoa! This is the blood spot. It looks like I'm handwriting.
Wow.
Again, you can even read the line where it says, beholder of brief mortality, right at the top. And that was the last line that he ever wrote.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know, right? So, during his time of writing was mainly about the Civil War, and again, he was a native of Charleston. So this last stanza like really stood out, and we actually had a very specific term come out of it last night on one of the spirit boxes, which I found very cool, because it is a very specific term. So, it reads, we know not in the temple of the fates, God has inscribed her doom, and all untroubled in her faith, she waits, the triumph or the tomb. Had the word tomb show up last night and the word God in the same page. So, that was written in 1862. So he actually died in 68. So that was 6 years before his death. And that was actually his poem titled Charleston. The poem is very, just so you know, like it is very lengthy. But when I read the last stanza, I'm like, oh, that's really kind of dark and creepy to read at a ghost thing. So we're going to do it, and hopefully it stirs things up. I will tell you that his wife's name has shown up in here in this location twice. I'm not going to tell you what that is, so for those of you with spirit boxes, by all means, ask what the wife's name is. Obviously, I told you the son's name is Willie. Again, there's a whole lot about this guy I don't know yet, but with things we're going to be able to ask. This is a free-for-all. This is our last stop. Other tours love to come through here, explore the whole space if you'd like. Those of you with cameras, again, be mindful of the other groups walking through. Tourists love to just come through here without a tour. So again, we had one guy come up and was taking pictures as I'm telling the story about the blood book. Like he's up here, taking pictures of this guy. Really? I'm in the middle of a thing here, dude. Let's get those spirit boxes cranked. Keep in mind, people do stare at us funny because we're the weirdos. If you were wondering where the weirdos are at tonight, look around. You're them. That's kind of how this goes. So we're going to see what happens within the next 10 minutes. We'll regroup. I'll tell you what tomorrow looks like, and we'll see what's going to happen from there.
That's good. Investigating.
Go.
Yep.
What?
I heard someone say like a phrase. It says someone said prehistorical America. I don't know what. I swear.
Okay.
Prehistoric America, and also, you know how you like talked about like a doctor and stuff?
Uh-huh.
I heard like an ad say talk to your doctor.
Okay.
Does it mean anything?
I don't know.
Ah. Oh, I'm talking banjo again. Oh, thank you. I've heard a word native.
Native?
Native.
Okay.
Lyrics are 1 and 2.
We'd like to gather in this area right here. This bench is fair game, that bench is fair game. So like sitting situation.
I'm gonna continue looking around there though.
Okay. Go have fun.
That's weird. Ever since the beginning, I've been hearing a piano and also a banjo.
Okay.
That's a little weird, no? That keeps coming up too.
Uh-huh.
The heck? Can I try walking up on that thing? I don't know. If I can or not.
I don't know. I think there's steps going up the front of it. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Let's go. Dad? I just heard something like, no, it's nothing. Probably nothing. Yeah. Okay.
And this is the realest, scariest thing.
As soon as I was walking up there, I heard someone said, "Don't."
Okay.
Oh. Yeah. Like as soon as I started walking towards it, I heard these voices don't, so I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go there. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave. Nope, I'm good. I don't want to get possessed tonight.
That's exactly why I need those little terms to like, yeah, we're not going to follow that.
I'm gonna continue like walking around.
Go ahead.
Death, Wonder, Elizabeth, Executions.
What?
I heard Elizabeth. That's Elizabeth.
What?
Hmm?
What's wrong?
What?
It's like you're like looking.
No. I'm just.
You're scaring me. You know that? Oh, also, remember when we were in the alleyway? Did you hear the leaves rustling and stuff? Like I saw them rustle a little bit. It's weird, no?
No. I didn't hear anything.
Because I heard like the leaves like behind us, or like I saw them like
Okay.
rustling.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, maybe it's just an animal.
No, I have to, but she was walking in front of me.
So that was a little scary.
Yeah.
Really? Did you hear anything? No. I asked if you what are your initials and your stomach.
sort of a chariot.
Seen anything?
Not yet.
And again, it might tie into something else that's here.
He said on his small screen you might not be able to see anything until he blows it up on a big screen.
Yeah, this camera picking up, like, trying to look for the word.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking for more words.
Yeah.
He keep giving me band-aid flyers, but I can't make anything out of that. Who else has a spirit box? Have you heard? Yeah, you got your chariot.
It's like words.
Okay.
What?
Dang.
You just keep scaring me.
You're going to be seeing that in your sleep tonight, aren't you?
Yeah.
Sean, did you get any numbers at all? Nope. Nothing?
Nothing.
We figured out who Elizabeth was. That is Amy Jackson's mother. Monument is right over there. So I'll be looking for other clues relative to Elizabeth so that way we can make sure it's tied in specifically. We're looking for obviously dates and years and things like that. If you get the word chariot, I think that's very odd. It's just a very odd term to hear on the radio in general. So I'm going to see if that ties in anything else that's going on. So I did write it down. When I get a weird term like that, of course I'm thinking go Sparta, the chariots, the chariot races, but I never know what's actually going to pop up out of it. The word execution is a good possibility too. I can't say for sure, but they're thinking that there were executions that were actually held by here, like either right outside the square or inside the square. So I'm definitely going to dive into the word execution. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Again, this is a space where you guys are teaching me.
Okay, so you see that monument right there? As I was like trying to walk up to it, as soon as I was walking up to it, so I just knew.
So whenever we have gotten directives like that, where it's, like I told you about the Pinckney Mansion site, like, welcome here, or when I have a good solid group, it's like, look behind you, go right, towards door, you know what I mean? Things like that. So even though the mansion's not there, I can direct you on where the door used to be, because it's not where that staircase is in front of the normally it is. It's actually off to the left, because their terrace house was off to the floor, which means the center of the house was off from the center of the steps. If that makes sense. So again, I've really laid out in that lane, right there with measuring tapes, trying to figure out the maps of where things actually used to be. So I've done a lot of research, which is why it's sad that I may have to retire. I'm kind of inching my way back in again a little bit with you guys. But I'm very interested to see what's going to come out of all of this, especially with the recording that you have, because again, I have a knack for picking the person that's going to struggle, and they get the recorded one, which means, oh, I'm going to test it tomorrow morning anyway. So the name of Henry's wife was Katie. And the funny thing is, we discovered that because somebody said, oh, I just heard somebody announce Katy Perry coming on. I wrote it down. Because again, I don't know. I get home and research, the wife's name is Katie, and he wrote a poem after her. So again, I'm like, you can't take this stuff very lightly. Oh, you got the word poem? Oh, yeah. Love it. You guys made my job so much easier. So, hopefully, you guys learned that a couple of things. First off, you can't take anything as coincidence. It's never coincidence, especially if there's more than one thing going on at the same time. The other thing is, ghost hunting isn't scary. All that bullshit you guys see on TV is bullshit. Like, they do that stuff on purpose. That's why you guys watch it. Because it keeps the fear and the emotion. And I will tell you, as far as like me going through my own locations outside of the tours, by the way, 2 hours and 8 minutes, which means you're definitely going to have about 8 to 8.5 hours worth of media coming back to you. I don't time this, by the way. I just go. Like, that's just the way I roll. I'm not like, oh, 2 hours, guys, we got to cut it off. I cut it off when the activity's slowing down, or I think we have enough where we're not going to start. Like what we did at the Shaky Mansion. But when I'm doing my own investigations, all I want to know is that there was a raised emotion. One of my best cases was the Flight 93 memorial, 9/11.
Wow.
So, yeah. And I don't walk around like people on TV asking, what ghost stories do you have? You know, and then I go investigate at night. No, I have all the gear running in a bag. And I walk around and I pay my respects just like you guys. I just look over all the data later and then do the research. I don't want to go in with that subliminal subconscious of looking for somebody's name, a date, something, whatever. I'm telling you, go read the piece on the Flight 93 memorial. If you don't like to read, it's in a podcast format too. So it's at the top of your data page. So with you guys getting all of this data back tomorrow morning, like I said, I'm normally done between noon and 1. And again, we're going to have tons of reading to do because we actually caught quite a bit. This is about average, maybe slightly higher than what I normally see in a regular night in real time. Remember that 60% of it comes through going through the media. That's where you find all of, that's why I give it back to you. Only 40% comes out of the fun stuff in real time. My next piece is that if you did not have a specific piece of equipment or got to see it, I did write a field guide for each piece of equipment that was in your hands tonight. So if you didn't have a thermal imaging camera and you don't know what you're looking for, go to the field guide. It'll tell you exactly what to look for with examples, like paranormal examples. So you guys can see some of the things that have been caught on previous tours. But again, you guys were a blast. Like, this was a lot of fun for me. So thank you for letting me forget about my swollen face. I appreciate that. And kind of letting me forget that I was even sick to begin with. So this is, when I get in the zone, I'm in the zone. And I think you guys all saw that tonight. Clay, love the fact that you heard things out of that. That thing is a big struggle for a lot of people.
Well, I first was like, what do I listen for? And all of a sudden it was just weird.
I told you, it just comes up weird. And that's just what it comes up. So, again, I'm going to start collecting your devices. You guys can ask me a million more questions if you want, but I'm also going to get you guys my card, so you can always email me. You guys had a lot of good stories if you have specific locations in a specific state. Again, I like to look for places that haven't been deemed haunted yet. Again, all that stuff you guys see on TV, they keep doing the same places over and over and over again. Again, nobody's done the Flight 93 memorial because it would always be considered inconsiderate or disrespectful. But again, the way I investigate, it's respectful. And again, I had a lot of stuff come out of that. So it's gonna take one, pass them around. I'll take whatever's left over if you guys need more. It does have my email address on the back, the website, and my phone number. I'll take the camera and I'm just gonna run the horn. What questions do you guys have? Is this what you guys thought you signed up for, by the way? Or you weren't sure? Clay's like, I don't know.
No, I've been on a lot of these, but no, you did a great job.
Oh, thanks.
with,
I wasn't fishing for compliments.
No, but I always enjoy the history part, kind of the tour, and you were still bringing that into everything in a great way. So
when I designed this, it was a matter of how do I keep everybody occupied, because I know that
just keep it.
and paranormal stuff is in everybody's bag, and the way I investigate a space anyway was based off of history, so it just worked out really well that I can appease everybody. And don't get me wrong, I still get my hecklers, and they can stay away. And by the way, if any of you were thinking about writing me a 1-star review, go find that 1-star review on TripAdvisor. I dare you. That woman got an earful when I was done with her. She challenged the MFA guy with the writing degree. So there's, for every sentence she wrote to me, she got 3 paragraphs on her back. So, yeah, she had no idea what she signed up for. That was the thing. Like, she didn't know about the gadgets, she didn't know about the TV shows. She thought, most expensive tickets, I have lots of money, I'm going to spend it here. Yeah, it was not the right thing for her to do. She had no idea what she was doing. But anyway, 1-star review, I gave it right back to her. So there's kind of fun. But again, that wasn't a threat, folks. It was supposed to make you laugh.